years and years ago, like Sega times. So I remember bringing one of them home. So that's where it kind of started. I've just done it for as long as I can remember. But to me, that was normal. So I suffer from a condition called endometriosis. Obviously, I was in pain and it's really not nice, but it gave me the chance and the opportunity to start something that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise. I had people around me that were just like, why don't you just start streaming? When people started realizing it was me that was doing it, they were like, oh, well, that's cool and blah, blah, blah. And I just grew it from there, really. So yeah, this is what I do because they don't expect someone that looks like me. You know, I'm an Asian female, like, to be gaming, but opportunities do just naturally come your way so quick because you look different, you are different. That's why I would love to see more brown girls get into it. But I believe that for anything, if you've got the passion for something, you can take it as far as you want to take it. Like I think she's like doing something naughty in there, like she dresses up and everything, and I was like, Mom.
Welcome back to the KultureKast podcast. My guest today is a Twitch streamer. She goes online by the name of Shergz. Welcome, Simran Shergill. How are you doing?
Thanks, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. We were just obviously talking beforehand about like gaming and things, and it's very nice to see that there's representation of a female Indian gamer because it's like a unicorn. I didn't even think these things existed. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to talk about all things gaming. And I've been an avid gamer for a very long time, so should be a very fun conversation. But the way that I like to start every episode is just to take a trip down memory lane. Tell me a bit about you growing up. What's your cultural background? What was baby Simran like? All of that.
Okay. So I was born in Birmingham. I've lived here practically all my life. I did live in London for a period of time. That's because I went and lived with my sister and went to college there, but then I've come back here again. So I'm a Sikh girl from Birmingham, but where I've grown up, there hasn't been many brown people at all. So it's just, I don't really see a lot of people like me around here, to be fair. So I went to school. I was one of the only brown girls, I think, at the time in like my whole year. As time went on, like when I was in high school, say like year 9, that's when more Asians started to move into the area. But until then, like I've kind of grown up without a lot of brown people around me. I've got my 2 sisters and I've got a younger brother. So my 2 sisters are older than me and I've got a younger brother. And if it wasn't for my 2 sisters, I wouldn't be as grounded as I am now. So my 2 big sisters are like my besties and they've always looked after me. So they're the kind of guys that I had around me most of the time, to be fair. That's it.
You've because I'm from Newcastle, and obviously I've said on the podcast before, there's not many Asians around up here either.
Yeah.
But when I think of Birmingham, I always think of like, oh, it's so multicultural. Half of the Upper down there, do you know what I mean? All the Indians are there, but for you, it was the opposite.
Yeah, so a lot of people do assume that. I can understand why, because there is a lot of us around here. But I think my particular area, so like my parents moved to an area where there wasn't a lot of them. I think my dad, it's understandable. My dad kind of wanted me to grow up around different types of people, but then wanted to grow up in like a safer area, if that makes sense. So it's just my dad always liked this area, so he's just stayed here. And yeah, it's just how I've grown up. Like recently, there's a lot more Asians that are moving into my area, but only very recently, and I'm 27 now, so I've lived here since I was born. So it's taken a good few years for Asians to move around here. So
it's definitely a good thing. You said your older siblings help you stay grounded as well. Is that because like, if you pipe up at any time, they'll definitely bring you back down to earth?
Yeah, my sisters, oh my god, like I wouldn't be who I am without my sisters. So I can't imagine. I just don't know. They've experienced the same as me, so I was younger than them, but them growing up as well, there was no Asian people around them either. So I think that's what makes us, because people will say that I'm different than like your typical, and I think it's just because I've grown up around like quirky people, so my personality is just a bit different. It's not like same as everybody else. I think it's you know what they say, like where you grow up, your community and things like that. So yeah, I think that's got a big factor in it.
100%. That's why I asked this question at the beginning of each podcast, is because like, and it's basically the last question as well, but it's like a more summarized version of the last question. Is basically because I see culture as a thing of like an amalgamation of all your experiences, your relationships. So me being brought up in Newcastle compared to say Southall, for example, as another stereotypical Asian area, is it's going to be like I have a very different culture to someone who has been brought up in that area, if that makes sense. But I see the value in like over here that there's like a tight knit Indian community. So when I was going to like Punjabi classes and things on the weekend, you have your, it's almost like a double life, isn't it? It's like you have your English friends at school and you have your Indian friends at the Gurdwara and things like that. So, but it really helps in like adaptability as you're going forward. Do you know what I mean? You're able to adapt so much more.
Yeah.
Was did you go to like them sort of things, like Punjabi class and things when you were a kid, or no?
I never did. Like everyone I know did, and I feel like I missed out on something. But I just don't know. My parents never said. I think they sent my elder sister, but then I don't know. They just never sent the rest of us. So I feel like I fully missed out a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like as I'm getting older, I'm getting a lot more into my culture now. I'm so interested. I'm interested in our history. I'm interested in, you know, like where we came from back home and the struggles they had. But when I was younger, because I wasn't around people that would talk about it, I didn't really know a lot. I can say that I wasn't uneducated because, you know, like I think my dad really wanted to get us to integrate within society and, you know, do our best, you know, what he's brought us to, like the area that he's brought us to and whatever. And I am really thankful because I do feel very multicultural. I do feel like I can talk to anyone and everyone. So I haven't just been surrounded by my type of people. I've been surrounded by all types of people. So that's really helped me. I feel like that's what's made me a very social person as well.
No, 100%. It does make sense. And I think that the funny thing is like the grass is always greener on the other side when you're growing up. Like for me, it was the opposite. As I say, I was like I stuck out like a sore thumb. I had my little gutti going to school. I'd have like Punjabi MC blasting through my headphones where I could hear other people like laughing like at my music choice through my headphone. So like when I was growing up, it was more like I'm a bit shy and ashamed of where I'm come from. But then, like you said, the older you get, the more you sort of appreciate it and you see like the benefits that it brings as well. Whereas obviously you're saying like the opposite, like and I think that's it. Like when I was growing up, I was thinking, if only I could integrate more. And you did and sort of missed out on a few things, whereas I missed out probably on a few things because I was like that side of things. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
You mentioned there as well, like you multicultural area. So what other cultures were you surrounded by?
Well, to be fair, I do say that I think now more so, and like my nan as well. So I say my nan. I know that sounds, you know, I'm always like me nan, but my nanny, she's from Southall. So to be fair, Southall is like my second home. So as much as I live here and I'm just surrounded by Gordon, but when I'm in Southall, it's like a whole different story. It's like complete opposite to where I live. So I have had kind of the best of both worlds. So I have grown up here, you know, being surrounded by different types of people. And then when you go to Southall, it's like culture just hits you in the face and you can't escape it. But I love that though. I love the fact that at least I had that much. Like I didn't have it in Birmingham, but whenever I'd go and see my nanny and go and see my family and whatnot, I would experience it. So that's what's kind of also kept me so that I haven't gone too far left. Like I have still got that culture inside me because that was our way of kind of experiencing it growing up.
I'm quite similar. Like my Massey lives in Leicester, and the summer holidays I often go down there and spend like time with her and obviously like my cousins and stuff. And obviously Leicester's way more like brown, I guess, than up here. And it's funny because like this one thing always stands out with me is like we went to one of their markets on like the weekend. We go to the market stalls, and obviously up here, if you want to slyly say something about like anything, like if you pick up something, you just be like, "Oh, this is nice," or even say a bad thing about it. But up here, you can say it in Punjabi, and nobody's gonna understand.
Nobody will know. Yeah.
I think it was like a wallet or something from this market stall. I picked it up, and I think I said something negative, to be fair, but in Punjabi to my Massey, and then the market stall like owner person, like the salesperson, was like, no, it's really good quality. It's really good quality. But obviously, like in Punjabi back, and I was thinking,
forget where you are. Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not the same up north.
It's crazy. It's like even now, I find it hilarious when I have to go to the Indian shop because there's none of that around me. And even though like I keep on saying I'm 27, you'd think by now, you know, but when I go to the Indian shop, it's an experience for me, but I love it. I have so much fun. I have so much fun. And that's what I mean. I love going to Southall because it's like another world, but I love it. I have, you know, but yeah, it's just around here, like I said, there's not many people like me, but I kind of like it because I stand out. That's what I like about myself. I've always seen myself as unique. I've never compared myself to anyone. I've never been like, I wish I was this person. I wish I was like that. I've just been happy in my own little bubble, on my own little journey. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'm happy with the way I am.
It's the
And
best way to be.
yeah, I think it's the best way to be. I am happy with myself. I'm always, you know, bigging my own self up, always being positive and focusing on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, my sisters were there for that. They definitely always kept me in my lane. So I'm very blessed with having them around.
No, definitely. Like you can learn some. Like obviously, I've got an elder sibling as well, and it's sort of they go to war with, essentially on your behalf, and then pass down the lessons. So it's very
Yeah.
easy just to pick up the little tricks of the trade and things from them,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's just a lot more easier. And speaking of like being unique in things, as we were speaking beforehand,
Yeah.
is that I said that you were like a unicorn when I
Mm-hmm.
first stumbled across your Twitch gaming platform
Yeah.
because I haven't seen that many Indian gamers first and foremost, but then on top of that, female Indian gamers. Because
Mm,
I don't know if I'm ignorant to this. I don't know if there's like a little sub sort of section of Twitter and Instagram and Twitch of
we'll get onto that. Yeah.
so many Indian female gamers, but
Yeah.
for me, you're the first one that I stumbled across and sort of sparked my interest. So we'll take it sort of back to how you got into gaming first. Like, what was your first console? What was your first gaming experiences, and how did you sort of get into it?
Okay, so I think my big sister was into gaming years and years ago, like Sega times. So I remember bringing one of them home. So that's where it kind of started way back then. So I've been gaming for a very, very long time. It's been more than 10 years now. So we had like everything. We had like Nintendo, Sega, which is really cool because if like I keep on referring, but if my sisters watch this, they're gonna be like, you're such a sap. But if it weren't for her, like I wouldn't be where I am now. So she used to buy all the consoles, and then it went to, you know, like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're on 5. But like, yeah, I don't remember I don't remember what got me into Call of Duty, but I was so into it. And I used to play like, you know, when GTA was obviously 18 plus, I used to be so young playing it. And I was such a psycho because I used to run people over, shoot them, and I used to be giggling. I used to find it so much fun. And I was like, wow, like this is my thing. So that's how it all kind of started. I think we always had like a console in the house. And I was always just into it. So I've just done it for as long as I can remember. But to me, that was normal. So like you say, you don't know many Indian gamers, and people do say to me like, "What?" And I'm just like, "What do you like? What do your parents say?" For example, I'm like, "What can they say to me?" Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what does your
Yeah.
family say? And I'm just like, they're so used to it's nothing. It's like, yeah, Simran's on the PlayStation again. Or my mum will be like, you can't disturb her because she's gaming. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just completely normal. It's been years and years and years. And then I would say about 3 years ago, a few people mentioned to me you should stream, and I was like, oh, like I said, I like being in my own little bubble. I like just sitting there, you know, escaping from the world and playing. But I got quite ill, so I had like I wasn't working or anything, and I was on like horrible, like really horrible drugs, so I couldn't drive. I had to quit work, and that was like the perfect opportunity. If I'm sat at home and I'm playing, why not stream it? So that's how I got into it.
That is it is cool because as you say, it's like if it's normal to you, but then maybe not to others, sort
Yeah.
of thing, which is it is quite fascinating because like you don't typically think of, and I know this might get some backlash, but you don't really typically think of girls as gamers. I know that
Yeah.
like sort of stereotype is changing now because you have quote unquote e-girls. I don't really understand what they are, but you
Yeah.
have them. But like exactly like you as you said, like if it's normal for you, then it's just normal. And then when you go out of that bubble, then you sort of realize, oh, actually, there's not many people doing this.
Even now, like I'll get compliments. I'll finish streaming and I'll get messages like, "That's so cool. You need to carry on doing what you're doing." And I'm just like, I'm just sat here doing what I love to do. And you always like every time I stream, I'll get someone new saying, "I can't believe you do that." And I'm just like, what like we keep saying, because it's normal. I'm like, what? Like all I've done is press start record on like a camera or something. Like to me, it's nothing. But I think it's kind of like, it is a bit sad in a way, because I'm like, I wish that more brown, I know quite a few now, and being on Instagram, I've had messages, which is so cool. Like, I've had girls message me, Indian girls that are like, oh, I play, but I've got no one to play with, and it's like not normal, do you want to play? And I've hooked up with girls like playing with them and stuff, and it's just super cool. And I want to kind of build a little community with Asian girls if possible, because I'm all about girl power, and I think we can smash that stereotype. Like, if you enjoy doing it, then just do it, do you know what I mean? You shouldn't care about what other people think. And so yeah, that's my mission at the moment.
No, 100%. Like, that's the thing, isn't it? It's representation. Like, that's been the running theme of sort of this podcast so far, is that everybody that I've spoke to, it's people doing things in different fields, but them fields are not the stereotype for Asians, because it is that normal doctor, lawyer, engineer is a stereotype, and everyone jokes about. But when you see somebody who's sort of smashing it in a different field, then it sort of opens that door to the next generation, or even like somebody else, even like who, as you say, is doing that but not on a public stage, if that makes sense. Like, you got in touch with other female South Asian gamers who are also smashing it, but when they see someone who's actually publicly doing it, then it makes it a bit more like, makes it normal. It breaks that, it breaks that stereotype, which is super, super cool. Because I am that person who was like messaging you saying, oh, so cool doing it. Obviously, in the lead up to this, when we first got in contact, it was like smashing it. That's why I wanted to speak to you on the podcast, because it is, it's a cool thing, because it isn't happening. Like, and that's the thing going forward, is that us Indians and us South Asians, I guess, and ethnic minorities as a whole, when you get into fields that are not normal, as I say, it's just more eye-opening. It makes it more achievable for the next generation. It's representation at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you I know obviously we spoke about this in the build up to this, about your health complications and things. Do you want to touch upon that? Because I know you went on to was BBC Asian Network, wasn't it?
I was on BBC Asian Network. So basically, I think I've suffered for a long time, but I'll get into that. So I suffer from a condition called endometriosis. Endometriosis is where the lining of your uterus will grow and it will stick to other places on your inside. So it can stick to your bladder, your bowels, your ovaries, your fallopian tube. It can grow anywhere, and it's extremely painful. So ladies that have periods, you can imagine it's already painful, but it's like a whole nother level of pain. You know, you get like sharp shooting pains down your legs. It's as if someone's got like a sharp knife and is constantly stabbing you in the pelvis. Like, I'm laughing, but that's because that's the only way I can deal with it. So since I was really young, I've always had problems with my period. So I started when I was like 11 or 12, and I'd have to take so much time off school because I was like collapsing. I was in pain. And every time you go to the doctor, and women can relate, all you ever hear is, oh, you're just having your period. It's normal. And you're like, okay, this doesn't feel normal. Like, is this what it is? And I hated myself. I was like, I've got to go through this until I don't know, whenever I reach menopause. And then you've got menopause, and it's like, you can't escape. Do you know what I mean? So that was really tough. And I'd constantly go to the doctors saying it's not normal. It's affecting everything around me. It's affecting my mood. It got to the stage where I'd have to plan what day I was washing my hair, because just doing such a simple thing as washing my hair would mean I'd be a write-off for the rest of the week, because your body's constantly fighting the pain. So you're in pain and you're like, I can handle it. But really your body's exhausted from fighting it. It's a chronic illness. So I suffered for that, I think, for a long time. And on average, it takes about 7 years for a woman to get diagnosed. It's horrible. When you read the statistics, you're shocked. It's actually horrible. It's disgusting.
Because of the misdiagnosis, is that why it takes so long?
Yeah. Like, I don't know why. It affects 1 in 10 women, but I don't know why it's taken this many years to get so much exposure to it. So March is National Endometriosis Month anyway. And there's been a lot more in terms of research and things like that. But I'm just thinking, the poor women that have suffered before me, and doctors just don't pay them attention. They'll just say it's a period, this is silly myth, have a child and you'll be all right. And you're like, what? I've got to give birth to a child to make myself feel better. But that's fake as well. Like, that's not true.
Surely that would be like more painful as well.
Yeah, but that,
not
I
just
don't know.
obviously like child labor, but obviously with the illness. I mean,
With the illness, yeah, and it doesn't go. It's a very horrible myth that someone's made up somewhere, but you know,
so what is there a solution? Is there like a cure?
unfortunately, there isn't a cure. So you can get it treated. The only way it can be diagnosed and treated is by having a laparoscopy, which is where they go in your pelvis and do like they put a camera down and have a look to see what's going on. So the first operation I had was about 3 years ago. They went in. I went through the NHS. It took me years because I had to wait for a gynecologist. You know what the waiting times are like. I had to wait for a gynecologist and I had to wait for a specialist, and they were making up all these excuses like, you're young, you know, we don't want to go around there, you're going to have children. And I've always said, how do you know if I want to have children, first of all? So everyone automatically assumes you're a lady, you want to have children. And I was like, that's not my issue right now. I would just want to get rid of the pain. So they went in and they found like a cyst on my ovary and they burnt that off and I felt a lot better. And then not that long after, the pain came back. And then I went private. So my parents had enough because the doctors were being ridiculous. I had such bad treatment. I used to go to the doctors and I had to go to A&E a few times. That's how bad the pain was. And a lady gynecologist, not even a male. So a lady knows what a lady goes through. Oh, I don't think it's endometriosis. I think you just need to go back to your GP. And I'm on a hospital bed crying my eyes out. And I'm like, ibuprofen's not working, codeine's not working, tramadol's not working, and you're telling me that you want me to go back to my GP. So
and there's some serious medication that you've just named as well, like
zombie.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You turn into a zombie. That's why I had to quit work, because the doctors didn't know how to deal with me, so they just kept on upping my medicine, and I was like, this isn't working. Like, yeah. I had to cancel my car insurance. Obviously, you're not allowed to drive. I had to quit work, and I was like in bed 24/7, and that's not a life. Do you know what I mean? It's horrible mentally as well. Oh my God, don't even get me started on how that affects you mentally. But
I can imagine like people obviously during like this lockdown and COVID and things, obviously saying like, oh, you can't go out, but at least you can move freely around your house. Do you know what I mean? But obviously in the state that you were in, you can't really do that as well. Like if you're on them tablets, as you said, you're pretty much like a zombie. It's not nice. So how has it been since, like, how have you sort of overcome that?
Like I said, so when I went private, I had like one of the best doctors in the country. Luckily, he was only down the road from me. He's in Birmingham, so he was amazing. Obviously, the waiting times are so different as well. So I got told, yeah, I can do an operation within 3 weeks. He said, ignore the NHS, what they're saying that you're too young. That's nonsense. You know, all this medication, it's like putting a plaster on a broken bone. That's what he was saying, and it was true. So I had an operation only within a few weeks of seeing this private doctor. And he got rid of it all. He said it was everywhere. So imagine NHS are telling me I'm over-exaggerating, and then a doctor going in and saying, we found it absolutely everywhere. So he went in and he dug it all out. Felt so much better afterwards. The way I don't know, like I was pain-free for 2 years. Unfortunately, it has come back, but I'm more positive than last time because I know exactly the route I'm going to take. Yeah, I know exactly what it is, how to deal with it, the route I'm going to take. But the way I deal with it is, I would say like I'm a naturally positive person anyway. So I never try and let things get me down because it's out of my control. So I just try and, you know, positives like I'm very blessed that I can go private. Not many people can do that. I'm very blessed. I got to see one of the best doctors in the country, and I'll get to do that again because I'm going to have to book another operation. And things like gaming, like it just takes your mind off it.
So the operation is basically like these walls that are enclosing or growing, is it basically just going in and then like chiseling them down essentially?
Yeah, so like you'll get like cysts and stuff, like cysts will form, and they'll form, for example, for me, they formed on my ovaries, my bowels, my bladder, it was everywhere. And like he took pictures as well, which is disgusting. But when I looked at the pictures, he even said, he goes, you're very strong, and you wouldn't, even though I was in a lot of pain, he said I dealt with it really well because it was it was so bad inside. So they go in and they kind of like dig it out from the roots. So the specialists will go in, but I was so high off morphine when I woke up from the operation that, you know, it sounds painful and it is, but when it's just unbelievable. when you don't have pain, it's weird. Like at first you need to get used to being normal. You're expecting like a twinge or something to happen, but you just feel completely fine afterwards, which is great. But yeah, like I was saying, unfortunately there's no cure for it. It's just treatable, so it can keep I try and stay positive, but I could have this operation and then I don't know, next year 6 months. Some ladies have had like 18 operations. I know.
So it's basically just one of them things that, like, and as you said, until you menopause, that you might have to keep on going through it.
Even after menopause, that's what's horrible.
Oh,
So
really?
it can be that, yeah, and ladies have had hysterectomies, so they've got rid of their womb and they're still getting the pain. That's what's so horrible about it, and that's why I'm shocked that there's not been a lot of research into it. Like, imagine being in pain for that many years. Like, it's
And not just that, I can understand if there wasn't research into illness that doesn't affect many people, but if it's 10% of women, that's quite a large percent of women. If it is like 1 in 10, as you say.
yeah, it's 1 in 10. And the more I've researched about it and the more I've spoken to women about it, they've been like, I think I've got that. That's how bad it is. So they'll go to the doctors and they'll say, oh, it's just a period. But then when I sit them down and I say, if this is how you're feeling, if that's how you're feeling, you need to tell your doctor. Like when I did my research, I had to tell my GP and tell my gynecologist, I know that this is what it is. And they were still in denial. But until I saw a specialist and went private, that's the only time where he was like, no, I agree with you. I 100% think that this is endometriosis. And that's just shocking because not everyone, like I keep saying, is blessed to be in my position. So the amount of women that are out there suffering, it's not nice.
And again, I think it's like, similarly to the, I know this is going to be a very weird parallel, but just stick with me here. Similarly to the gaming thing of
Yeah.
representation, someone like speaking out about these topics as well, because it is fairly, I guess, taboo, should we call it, in our sort of community and things. But having these sort of conversations that don't normally happen when they could affect that many people is an important thing to do. Do you know what I mean? So, like, obviously, credit to even the BBC Asia Network for having you on, because they have obviously a massive like audience to sort of share that sort of experience.
I was really grateful because there's this lady called Neelam who works for the sisters group, sisters with like cysts, not like sisters. So
right.
a really good play on words.
Yeah.
And someone introduced me to her on Twitter actually, and she was like, I'm always thankful for her because she taught me so much. So she works with like South Asian women and and people of color that, you know, because these communities don't talk about it, and that confuses me because I'm like, how can you not? Like, if anyone's going through something, you have to talk about it. So I was really blessed that they asked me to be on the radio. I was like, oh my God, I want to be on the radio. So this is like 2-3 years ago. I was so nervous. Like, oh my God, honestly, I could have thrown up. I was on the way to the studio and I was like, oh my God. But afterwards, I got so many compliments like, my parents don't like talking about it. I'm so glad you spoke about it. I feel more confident now because I don't care. Like, if it needs to me talking about, you know, periods, ovaries, all this stuff, I'll just say it how it is because that's the reality of it. So I was on radio and I didn't hold back. I just said exactly how it was because I've had to teach my dad about it. I've had to teach my brother about it. I've had to teach like male people around me because they wouldn't know otherwise. They didn't understand at first. My dad
And
didn't.
myself, you've literally just taught me today, so I didn't know too much about it beforehand.
That was good, yeah. Because it could affect anybody. Like, it can affect, you know what I mean? Like any lady around you, you have no idea what she's going through because everyone says to me when it first happened, no, like even my own family, I can't blame them. They just thought I was like trying to have a cop out, like, oh, she doesn't want to do this because she's in pain. She doesn't want to do that. And I was like, no, seriously, guys, it's really painful. And then when I told them about it, they were shocked because I could look like this. Yeah, I've got makeup on, do my hair, whatever. But really, I'm dying inside. Like I'm just putting on a brave face because I know that people care and I'm so grateful I've got all the support from my family, but you feel bad for them because they can't physically do anything. So you don't want to tell them that you're in pain because I'm in pain 24/7. So it gets boring for me to be like, yeah, hi guys, I'm in pain again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't want to feel like a burden on other people.
Yeah. And even though I get told off on a regular from everyone around me, like, you have to tell us. I'm like, but it's not going to change anything. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, just because someone looks a certain way, you have no idea what's actually going on.
Yeah, it's not nice. And as I say, like these sort of taboo topics that shouldn't be taboo because they are natural sort of occurrences. Like I had Akam Gurwal, who's like a female bikini competitor. She's like a bodybuilder. And in that podcast, it similarly to this one, it took a turn and we were just talking about periods for like 20 minutes because she has like a lot of online clients, and she but there's a thing in South Asian women specifically, which is PCOS, which is quite common.
Yeah.
Again, I was oblivious to all of this until that conversation, and she like outlined how many South Asian women it affects and sort of the impacts that it has, and for her, she like sort of went inside of like the diet and nutrition way, because like a lot of her clients who suffer with that have regained their periods purely from manipulating their diet and nutrition, which is an amazing thing. But that thing, and I said it in that podcast and I'll say it again, is like these conversations need to be had, because for me as like a young male, I have a mother, I'm gonna have a wife in the future, I may potentially have a daughter in the future as well. And if this this conversation and I'm like oblivious to any of this, and one of them potentially have it, and as you say, like 1 in 10 women have
Endometriosis. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a big
I
one.
still can't say it, so it's fine.
Endo, I'll shorten it with endo. Or as Akam said, PCOS also affects like a lot of South Asian women, which my future daughter will obviously be because of me. If I don't know these things, then it's going to be impossible for me to like sort of relate to that situation if it ever occurs. And not just myself, like obviously friends, family, and X, Y, and Z, but I think you need to have like, you just can't be ignorant about these things. Like, not talking about them because you feel uncomfortable is going to be far less important when it's actually happening, and it's the most important thing. Do you know what I mean? Like right now, like the most uncomfortable thing. Sorry, like right now it might be an uncomfortable conversation to have, but it could prevent further uncomfortableness, I guess, in the future. I've probably butchered that, yeah, but I think like I think my point is made.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think it's really important to talk about it. Of course, like my brother was uncomfortable at first. My dad, you know what, it's like you don't talk to your dad about certain things. Like in the Asian community, when you're on your period, you try and hide it from your dad, especially as much as possible, because you just brought up like that. But now I feel like I can talk to him, like he'll ask me questions, and it's really nice that we've been able to break that barrier. So if anyone asks him as well, because I did put on weight as well, because you do like things like PCOS and your hormones, you know how it is, they fluctuate, and you know, you put on weight, you lose weight, all sorts. So now like he's there to back me up. So if anyone says anything, he's like, hang on a minute, but she's suffering from this. And he's a lot more comfortable talking about it, because he's been there when I've been on the floor in pain. And at first, yeah, it's horrible to say it's uncomfortable, but it's just is what the way it is, because in our community, our parents didn't probably at all speak about it to their parents. You know, they had to keep it really secret, really hidden. Like, oh, you've got to hide your tampons, you've got to hide this, you've got to hide that. And it's like, but like not every single lady goes through it, but so many people. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. So many people are going through it, and it's so natural. It's so natural. Like we have it every month. We have a period every month. Do you not think to us like, for God's sake, we're like, here we go again? Do you know what I mean? And then, like I said earlier, you have your period until you reach a certain age, and then you go through menopause. You can't. There's just no break. There's no break from it. So the fact that you can't talk about it is really sad, because that's your life. Like that's part of you. So yeah, when I went on the radio, I was like, I don't care if any family members ever say anything to me. I'll be like, shove it. This is what I deal with. This is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But people need to talk about it, because it helped me when I spoke to Neelam from the sisters group. She helped me incredibly, and no one else was talking about it. So
no, and credit to you is again like reiterating, like it's a natural thing, it shouldn't be taboo. And if somebody close to you is suffering through this and you don't even know what it is, then like you can't help. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll be ignorant, and you should just educate yourself. Like we say that for everything, like racism, sexism, all the isms. Yeah, like it is basically like if you're ignorant, that's the main cause of it, to educate yourself afterwards, and then you should be a bit more educated, and you can sort of help out, you can understand a bit more, you can sort of cater around the person if they need it. Exactly. And this is just one more of them things. Like it is conversations that need to be had. And I'll be honest, like in the Acom podcast, in this podcast as well, I haven't expected to stumble upon these things, but I'm not shying away from it. Like I will the questions I've asked is literally just you need to know more information, like if you can, because as I say, like it might affect somebody in my life going down the line. Like it's not something that I thought I was going to speak about on either podcast, but it's something that I welcome, because if it does affect somebody that I care about in the future, then at least I can sort of help the potential misdiagnosis, and it'll save a lot of time and things like that, like if you're aware of them. Because even Aiken was saying with PCOS is that similarly, like a lot of them just get misdiagnosed. They don't go through proper channels. I think the problem with and I don't want to bash the NHS because it isn't their problem, like it isn't their fault, sorry, because they have been amazing through all of this pandemic and COVID and things. Like they are a very good sort of establishment, but there's just obviously not enough funding and there's not enough specialists. So what tends to happen is that when you go in, they'll have like the top results, I guess, like a Google search. I'm not saying it's as simple as a Google search, but as like a parallel of like, right, let's whack in a couple of symptoms. This is what people most commonly suffer with. So it's probably going to be this, and then they'll work their way down the list. Because like if it is something that specifically like PCOS with South Asian women, that percentage of like, it's not going to be up on that list, is it? It's going to be quite far down. So it's probably going to take a lot of misdiagnosis to get there. And it's not fun.
Like you said, it's like the most common things, isn't it? So that's the first thing they'll think of. That's the first thing on their mind. So they want to clear that out, which is understandable because they want to cross that out first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fucked, to be fair. It's fucked. But I'm gonna try to transition because that was a bit of a deep topic. But during that time when you weren't very well, you obviously had more time to game and things. And is this roughly around the period that you started streaming as well, or was this?
It was. So like I said, people were encouraging me, like if you're sat there, because the only thing I could really do when I had a bit of energy was just sit here and play a game, right? So I had people around me that were just like, why don't you just start streaming? And I just thought that was cool because I've always seen myself as different anyway. So I was like, why not? Why not just start? So it started off really small. I didn't have a webcam because you could, from the PlayStation, you could just stream directly. So I didn't have any cool layers or anything like that. It was just straight up. And then from there, when people started realizing it was me that was doing it, they were like, oh, well, that's cool and blah, blah, blah. And I just grew it from there, really. So it's been a lot of you don't think it's hard work. So you see people just like go online like now. So like I'm going to stream later on. So if I just jump on now, I can just press play. But oh my God, to get to that stage, it's so hard. The equipment you've got to use, the editing you've got to do, like the lighting, the everything. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's how it all started because I wasn't very, so that's what I mean. I try and be positive, and obviously I was in pain and it's really not nice, but it gave me the chance and the opportunity to start something that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Creating a positive out of a negative. And again, similarly, I'm trying to like have as many parallels because they just keep on coming up as like with the pandemic. That's why I started this podcast. But again, it's like turning that negative into a positive. So is Call of Duty is the main game that you play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Warzone.
It always has been Warzone at the moment, but Call of Duty since like Modern Warfare. Let me start again. Modern Warfare 2 days. It's always been Call of Duty.
You never play COD 4?
I did. I played them all.
What was the first COD that you like got heavily involved in? Was it Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4?
I remember because I was still quite young. So Modern Warfare 2, probably, like the co-op missions that you could do, story mode. And then really like I loved Black Ops. Oh my God, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. I had so much fun. You know what it is? When you were younger, you had no responsibility. When you think about it, you was like, that was the best time of my life. And I just used to have so much fun. And those were like really memorable ones for me, definitely. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. But then obviously last year Warzone came along at the perfect time. Oh my God, they couldn't have got it any better.
Yeah.
And just whole year I've been playing Warzone. I can't even lie. That's all I've been doing is just on Warzone.
It was the best timing because, like, even for myself, I took like a bit of a break from Call of Duty around Advanced Warfare, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that was dead. Like for me, I just didn't like it, so I just stopped playing. And then everyone was like, "Oh, you should get COD. You should get COD." And I was like, "No, man. Like, it's just not as good as it was."
Same, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Warzone came out, and then they were like, "No, just get this bit, just Warzone by itself because it's free." That was it. Okay, like if it's free, do you know what I mean? Like,
Why not?
it's like it's not going to cost me anything. It's going to have way bigger upside than any risk. So I was like, okay, because I feel like if you buy a game now as well, they're like 60 quid most of the time or something. I was like, it's too expensive.
I made that mistake though.
Oh,
Sorry
did
to
you?
interrupt you. I bought Cold War. Don't do it. If you're watching this, do not buy Cold War. It's terrible.
Which
And
one's Cold War again? Oh,
Cold
the
War's
newest one.
the newest Black Ops. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I wasted my money. That's what I mean. Like these days, it's not the same. I don't know if it's also, like I said, to do with back then you were younger, you were carefree, so that makes a big impact on how you play a game as well.
And plus, we weren't paying for it. Like my parents paid for most of the games. Like COD 4, I was like what 12.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With Modern Warfare, I didn't have 40 quid to buy a game. It was, Mummy, can we go GameStop, please? Can we go
You
Granger
have to wait
Games?
for like your birthday or Christmas.
Yeah.
So you'd have to wait for that. So yeah, those it's just, I was just saying don't buy Cold War because it's really bad. Some people might like it, but I felt like I wasted my money. And like you said, it's your own money as well. So you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I got it from the back of like, because I got back into COD from Warzone. So then I ended up buying the last one as well, whatever advanced Modern Warfare, yeah. To level up my guns for Warzone basically, because I was like, this is too slow. I can't level anything up like just by Warzone by itself, because you only have like a couple of actual battles in a game of Warzone. It's like everyone's so far apart. You only come into contact with people so many times, and when you got the like worst guns, I was picking up like my mates' loadout drops instead. They were like trying to get two and stuff, and like it just wasn't working. But yeah, like for me, it was again similarly to you. We had like a lot of consoles growing up, so I think my first memory of a console is like Sega Mega Drive. Sonic on that was bad.
Yeah, so much fun.
And then again, PlayStation 1, 2. I didn't have PlayStation 3. I changed to Xbox 360.
Everyone.
Yeah, and then I switched back to PS4.
Yeah, that's a very common theme. A lot of people did that. Yeah.
I don't know, that PlayStation 3 was just a bit weird, isn't it? Like Xbox was just better at that time.
Yeah. I mean, I've never played on Xbox. I've always been very loyal to PlayStation.
Oh no, I was just like, well, I just basically got the console that most of my mates were on, because I was like, I'm not playing by myself, so I may as well just get the console. But so what's like, other than Call of Duty, what are you other games that you play off stream, on stream?
I'm really boring at the moment, I can't lie, because I have so much fun on Warzone and all my friends are on it. I've started to play Battlefield again, so I really like Battlefield 1, and Battlefield 6 is coming out soon, and I'm so excited for that. As you can tell, I love first-person shooter games.
Yeah.
I do want to do a lot more, so I've recently bought Assassin's Creed, so I want to play that. So my next kind of thing is to play story mode games on stream. I thought that would just be different, because everyone's doing the same.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's streaming the same stuff, but I just have so much fun. So I'm trying to branch out, and I do want to play like story mode games and stuff as well.
Yeah, we had this conversation quite recently, I think, as well. Like when we were speaking back before this, I think that is good though, because a lot of streamers do have that sort of campaign thing, because you can interact with your audience a bit better as well. I think that's why most of them do it.
Better. Yeah, it's hard. Like when you're on Warzone, you're trying to concentrate, and sometimes your chat is popping off, and you feel so rude, and you're like, I can see you, I can hear you. Just please, just wait, just be patient with me. So because you've really got to concentrate. So I do definitely want to try chill vibe. Try something new.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
As like Call of Duty lobbies, as growing up in them myself, probably got a lot of shit. Like obviously, I use my real name. I did that mistake. You
made that mistake.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I was signing up for my Xbox account and all that banter. Obviously, I had Sing in the name, and if you killed anybody or anything, you get an instant message saying "Packy cunt" or whatever, like you terrorists and all that stuff. And even in the game lobbies themselves, everyone's got their mics and they're shouting.
Before party chat times, I remember game chat was the only thing you could chat on. Yeah.
Exactly. So did you get any of that stuff? Did people, obviously, like when I was younger, my voice hadn't broken, so people thought I was a girl anyway. But were you actually being a girl? Did people notice that thing? I've got some really funny stories. Yeah, let's hear them.
So because they don't expect, even now it's really bad. Obviously, many people don't expect women to play whatever, but they do. There's a massive women's game community. But the running joke for me is a lot of the time people think I'm a 12-year-old boy. So I've had that comment. So it's like a running thing between my friends as well. So people will be like, your balls haven't dropped yet. And I'm like, I don't have any balls. So it makes me laugh. I think games like that, it can, you got to have thick skin. So like, that's why nothing really bothers me, because I have experienced abuse over games and it makes me laugh. Like everything makes me laugh anyway. But the running joke between me and my mates is, oh, Sim, you sound like a 12-year-old boy and your balls haven't dropped. Like, that's what I get. And then when they realize I'm a woman, they're like, shit. Like, I just didn't expect that. So, yeah, that's funny. I love it. I love it, though. So
I was going to say, like, there's our like generation, I guess, is called snowflakes and things, but I don't know how, because we were raised in that, like, in them gaming lobbies. Like, we've heard some shit.
we have heard some shit. And like I said, even though I'm a lady, I'm practically a guy anyway. Like I'm literally a dude. Honestly, at heart, I'm a guy. Like I'm such a dude. So I have experienced it all. I've heard like some stories, and like you said in game chat, the shit, sorry, that people throw at you, and you're just like, oh my god, like, but
You'd end up having like a normal conversation, forgetting that you're in a game, if that makes sense. Like, so like if like a party joined with like 2 or 3 lads in it or something,
yeah,
and they're just speaking, you'd end up just hearing their natural conversation. So they'll be having like a what is now like a party chat conversation, but they'll be having it in game, like obviously
in
back in
game.
them days. So you just hear about like, oh, I was doing this last night and all that banter sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Then
It's quite
people would
funny.
join in. Like it happened to me. So I was playing Resurgence on Call of Duty, and we was in game chat, because I think game chat on Resurgence is hilarious. You meet the funniest people. But I was in game chat and I was talking to my mate, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm on a diet. I've eaten salad." And this guy unmuted his mic. He was like, "Can you like shut up about your diet, please, and concentrate on the game?" I was like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And I forgot for a sec that he could hear me. We made friends afterwards though, because we won the game. So he was like, "Oh, GG's," and I was like, "GG's, bro." But
That is it. It could either go 2 ways. It's either like they'll join in a positive way and like be like, oh yeah, I'm on a diet as well, or it goes like, or the other way and be like, who gives a fuck about your diet sort
Yeah,
of thing.
it
It's
can go
very
one or
funny.
two ways, but it's, to me, like that's what I mean. Like I find the stupidest things funny as well, which I'm just always creasing. I'm all like, if you've seen my stream, I'm literally laughing 99.9. If unless I'm really concentrating, I'm just in stitches all the time, because I always see the funny side of things. So it helps,
It is the best way. I have like obviously the couple of mates that I constantly play with, or play with more often, I
Yeah,
guess. We obviously just it ends up being serious at the beginning, and then holly as the night goes on, you just end up saying that the weirdest conversations come out of like what do you rather, or if you were in this situation, what would you do, sort of thing. It's like, but
yeah,
that situation is going to be like something so rogue, like
yeah,
it's never ever going to actually happen, but you end up just having that slow like divulgence into a weirdest
yeah.
conversations ever.
It's true. It's true. And as the later it gets, the crazier these conversations get. And the thing is, obviously, like, so I'm a female, but I've heard it all. I've got so many guy mates, and I am always in these conversations, and I hear the craziest things. Don't affect me now, by the way. Like, guys can talk about absolutely anything, and I'm just, they're like, really? Like, tell me more, because I'm really into it. And an average girl will be like, that is disgusting. But I'm like, no, carry on with the story. This is juicy. Keep going. So, like, yeah. But I was gonna say as well, like with gaming, and I know a lot of my mates as well, it's helped so much through lockdown, like mentally, like obviously we're really big on mental health now, because it has affected the majority of us and it's horrible. But that's the only interaction some people get. You jump online and you chat to your mates because you can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to know that, because I know with guys as well that they're trying to make it more normalized to speak about it. And myself, just being around my guy mates, they've started to talk about it. You're playing a game and they will talk about the mental health, like how you feeling today and whatever. And I feel like gaming is just like really helped them. It's given them something to do, and you're concentrating on a game, so you're not fully into the conversation, but you're also discussing things that you wouldn't really discuss otherwise. So mentally, I think it's really helped.
100%. I think as we said before, like Warzone came at a perfect time, because people who might not, like, most people actually were casual like gamers, or like didn't even game that much, but when it came out, because it was lockdown as well, it was like the biggest game, everyone's inside the house, everyone like sort of gets that nostalgic feeling of 5-10 years ago when you'd all like jump
Yeah,
on after school or whatever and play PlayStation.
yeah,
But obviously, as you said as well, then like, and we sort of mentioned before, is that these conversations just end up coming out because you're playing for such a long time, and then someone just mentions a one thing and you sort of go down that rabbit hole, and then someone mentions another thing and you go down that rabbit hole. So, and it is like a big way that lads do speak to each other. And obviously, like as we said, in like a public lobby, maybe it's a bit more quote unquote toxic. Maybe like it's a bit more like, oh, let's just try to get a laugh and sort of hammer somebody, like, and get
Who
like,
can say the worst thing to someone? That's what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. But then when you're in like your private chats or your party chats, then I think because you're playing with your friends, it's like people that you actually know most of the time. You end up having like a bit more serious conversations, which is really good.
I think it's really good. I like it. Like, obviously, I am saying that a lot of women are playing, but that's how I started with my guy mates.
Mm-hmm.
So when my guy mates are talking about it, I love it. I'm encouraging of it. I'm like, yeah, talk. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try and bring it up as well, because I know it's a lot harder for them to bring it up. But then they've helped me as well because of my pains and everything. And then lockdown really affected me the second time around. Bloody hell, it hit me like a truck. Like, it's so hard. But having like people around me and being able to say, oh, you're jumping on 8 o'clock, and then everyone will just come online, and it's nice because it's your escape from your little world, and everyone just checks up on each other. So I think it's really important, and it's really nice.
Exactly. And it's like, for me, when like pre-lockdown, all that thing, like when I'm actually like out and about with my mates or anything, like I'm the type of person that, let's do an activity. If we're gonna do like a catch up between a group of friends, let's do something and then talk. Because I don't like, like when you go have a meal and just, it's a bit too intense sometimes. Like for me personally anyway, like let's have an activity and then do a meal, because when we're doing the activity, half of the deeper conversations end up just coming out, but they're not too intense, because you might be having a bowling thing or like at the golfing range or something like that. Like you can sort of do the activity and have the conversation, which is for me, it's like the best way of having like catch ups. And obviously everyone's not like that, but for me, it's weird because like this as a podcast is very much the opposite. It's basically just like the most intense conversation with nothing else. Like, there's no distractions. It's literally just like one-on-one, boom, let's have a very deep conversation. But not like normally I end up going like doing like an activity, and that's what the PlayStation is. Okay, we've mentioned like streaming, and that's a thing that would get picked up on at a Call of Duty lobby, is the voice cracks. Yeah. But I'm keeping that in. Another thing that we mentioned, Phil, is streaming and Twitch. So obviously mentioned how you started, and in lockdown, obviously it got a bit more intense, should we call it? It escalated. It grew. All of them sort of synonyms. So for anybody who doesn't know what Twitch streaming is, how would you explain it?
I'm really bad at explaining things. I'm sorry, I apologize in advance. But so what you can do is you basically, if you're watching, you can sit and watch someone else play a game. And when you say that, sometimes you think, what? Like, people will say, why do you want to do that? But you know what? It's so nice because you make new friends. You get to watch how they're playing. You pick up tips, you pick up tricks, even if it's just a catch up. Like, I get people in my stream and they're just, how's your day? And it's so nice. Just one sentence. If say if you popped into my stream and was like, hey, how are you? How's your day? The fact that you've taken your time to click on my link and sit and watch for a little bit, it's just so nice. And you're very supportive of the streamers as well. So there's massive streamers out there like Nick Merckx, who's huge, and he gets like millions of people watching his streams, but he has a laugh when he's doing it. And there's just something about watching other people having a good time. It kind of cheers you up as well. And like knowing you're supporting them is like, it's a big, you might not think you're making an impact, but I can speak from experience when, like I said earlier, when I get messages afterwards, because you've done it, you said it to me once, you said, oh, I watched your stream and it was really good. And I was like, you did that? You joined my stream? That's so sweet. Like, it's just crazy. So yeah, it's basically, people are just you can watch, some people have a webcam so you can watch them playing their games, and it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun, and people have turned it into full-time work, which is unbelievable. Imagine having to play games for work every day. That's just like the dream.
It is the dream.
It is the dream. So, but what's really nice, and I had to put this in there because there are so many brown people that are streaming, and like you said, you didn't know if you were ignorant to it. I was ignorant to it. When I started on Twitch, I didn't know many Asian people that do it. Oh my God, there's loads of us. There's so many of us. Australia, New Zealand, Mr. Singh from New Zealand, only Jot on Twitch. I'm going to shout him out because he's from New Zealand. And I was like, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, I can't believe it. He'll tune into my stream from New Zealand, you know, and I'll watch his. There's people from Canada, there's people from America, all over the world. And everyone is so supportive, no matter what your time zone is. I know every time I stream, at least one person from Canada will be on, America, news. It's crazy. And if I can't sleep, the first thing I'll do, I know this might sound a bit sad, but the first thing I'll do is I'll just jump on Twitch and just being in someone's stream, just saying hi to them. Hi, I can't sleep, but I know it's afternoon over there for you. They're so grateful. And it's so nice to know that you're supporting someone and supporting their dream. And even though we're all doing the same thing, no one doesn't want to see anyone else win, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. That makes sense, because I've had this conversation before on the podcast as well, is that I think that the maybe the previous generation's attitude, like of like Indian community as a whole is sort of like a really bad for this of like nazar or evil eye of like you don't want to show too much, because if somebody's successful that means the other person can't be, or there's like negative like envious feelings, and I think that sort of now is going away purely because of the internet, because it's not like right, the property game is probably one of the easiest examples, because Indians are into property and there's a finite amount. So if an Indian person buys a city centre property, another Indian person might be jealous of that because that property is now gone. Whereas on the internet there was infinite resources, so it's not like and if anything it's the opposite, so the viewers who will watch you will watch the other Indian streamers,
everybody else.
Exactly. So it's like it's not like there's a limited amount, you're not fighting for anything, there's no clashing. If anything, we've seen on like YouTube and things, collaborations actually tend to benefit both parties. Do you know what I mean? Because then your audiences know about each other and things like that. So I feel like with the internet and things, it's become a bit less competitive on that side. Like you're not vying over the same people's attention, because there's enough.
There's so many of us, there's so many, and it's till this day, like I've been doing it for a couple of years, the fact that we all know each other, it feels like we're all like one big family, which is so nice. You know that they will tune into your stream, like I said, even if they just turn it on and just have to carry on with the rest of their day, because that viewer makes a difference to you, and you know the way you earn your money and the way you can monetize from it. But the fact that someone will go out their way to do that, and we all can't wait with lockdowns over. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we're all going to meet up. We're all trying to find the middle point between all these countries, and I can't wait to like meet all these people. Like it's crazy, like all over the world. It's mad, and everyone is so supportive. I haven't met anyone that isn't, and even though I'm a female, I don't think I've ever actually got, and I wanted to touch on this as well. People always ask me like, oh, you're a girl, like do you get hate for being a girl? Do you get hate for doing what you do? But I've never, I think once someone was just being very ignorant, but the gaming community is so accepting of absolutely everybody, because it's not about what you look like. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, I think it's because most people who get in deep into gaming are rejects. And I'm not saying that as like as a dig. I'm not saying because I have as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in sometimes where like you see a lot of the big gamers they're not the popular kid in school. Let's be real. Yeah. Like, and I'm saying this as a person who wasn't the popular kid at school and found like a safe haven on gaming. Do you know what I mean? Like, you haven't got like friends to go out and play with, you go on Xbox and you go on multiplayer, whatever. And I'm not saying this to be like sob story-ish or anything, but it is just the case. And I think that's why it's so inclusive, is because most of the time, like when the general society and broader society isn't inclusive, gamers are, because they're the ones that general society sort of kicked out, if that makes sense. And I know it sounds like really harsh in saying it, but it's like, it isn't as harsh as I'm saying it, but it is also reality.
It's true. It is true. I think that's why people are shocked that I've done it. So like, they look at me and they think, nah, like, why? Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I just have, like I always say, I'm just there to have a good time. Like I have so much fun. So people are shocked when I turn around and I say, yeah, this is what I do, because they don't expect someone that looks like me. You know, I'm an Asian female, like, to be gaming, but I just have the time of my life. I just have a good time, and everyone's so nice. Like I said, like we say, it gets toxic when you're talking to random people, but that's just because it's horrible to say, but it's just the way it is. Like, people, you accept it when you're a gamer, you accept it, you know how it is. But when I've met people and I've become friends with them through gaming and stuff, everyone has been so supportive. And like I said, with the whole Asian community, a lot of women are in gaming as well. There are a lot of us. So you'll see now there's tournaments. There was a tournament yesterday, unfortunately I couldn't join, but it was like customs war zones for women, ladies only, this, that, and the other. And it's so cool. I'm just like, woo, go. It's just so nice. Like, I've met girls through gaming that I never would have known otherwise. Like, I don't know why in my friendship group and stuff, like none of my friends, like zero, none of my girlfriends play. I wish they did, but I've met like girlfriends through gaming, which is really, really nice.
I think it's growing as a whole, just because the actual gaming industry is growing as well. So like, obviously, like I relay this to most things, it's a percentages game. It's like, if there's 10% of women who play games and there was 1 million people playing games 5 years ago, but now there's 5 million people playing games, then that percentage automatically is going to increase. Like not the percentage, sorry, the number of people doing it is automatically going to increase. But again, like, I think that it becomes like when you can see other people doing it, then it becomes more sort of like, okay, well, if she's doing it and she's proud about it, then I can sort of tell people that I'm doing it as well. Because there'll be like a lot of quote unquote closet gamers who will play games but just don't really say it too much, because they're like, oh, and it's that thing again of like the Indian community of like lucky you can get sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? But
I know that there's people that I'm related to that probably look at me like, what is she doing? But I don't care. Like, they can carry on looking at me like that because I am just having a good time. And I know that I was telling you this before, you know, the way I had to break it to my parents.
I wanted to touch on this because this is such a funny story.
Oh my God. So obviously, like, when I'm on stream, unfortunately, I don't feel blessed enough to be able to go on stream without doing my hair and makeup. It's just my kind of thing. I just like doing that. So I would say to like my family, I'm busy now, and I'd lock my door. Or if I need to go to the toilet, I'd walk out and I'd be wearing like, you know, just or even just a jumper, but not like my pajamas. And I'd have like a full face of makeup. I'd have like a full face of makeup, my hair's done. And my mom's just looking at me like, what is she doing? I can hear her talking to people, and she's got her webcam. I can see the light. She's got a light on in the background. All these screens, like, what is she doing? And then she never confronted me. She just went straight to my sisters. And she was like, I think she's like doing something naughty in there. Like, she dresses up and everything. And I was like, Mom, I'm playing a goddamn game. Like, I'm just there. And she just didn't understand at first. Like, I don't know what. Well, you can use your imagination. She probably thought I was doing some next thing on a webcam. And I was like, I mean, I am live streaming on a webcam, but
not that type of way.
Not that on a webcam. I was like, I'm just sat there, Mom, playing a game. And she didn't understand. She's like, people watch you. I'm like, yeah. She's like, what? My sisters were like, Mom was genuinely concerned. Like, my sisters had to call me and say, what are you doing in your room late at night with your makeup on, talking to people? Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed. So it was hard at first to like say to them, you know what I mean? Because they're not used to it. You know what our parents are like this generation, especially because of lockdown, everyone's got, you know, like, okay, I'll say everybody, but a lot of people have had to use like Zoom for work and stuff. So their equipment's gone bigger, you know, they've got monitors, screen, everything. So at first, my parents were like, seriously, what are you doing? Like, where are you getting the money as well from to buy all this stuff? But when I explain it to them, they're like, okay. But before I broke it to my mom, I remember because my cousin watched me, and when lockdown eased a bit and you could do like 15 people at a wedding, my cousin got married and my mom didn't know that I was streaming. So my cousin went up to my mom and she was like, wow, Simran's doing really well with her gaming stuff. Like, I'll watch her all the time. And my mom was like, what are you talking about?
So yeah, it is jokes. Like, I think I said to you as well, like in the build up to this, when you told me that story, which is definitely going to be snipped up and used in the trailer to this because it's just too funny. But I was saying that one of my cousins as well, he's not even 30 to be fair, but I think like he's around 30. But he's like he's just not into gaming. He obviously was when he was a kid, but he's just not into gaming or that world. Yeah. And then randomly, just out of the blue, I got this text saying, Gov, who's Vicstar? Like, oh yeah. Sorry. I had to sort of explain to him who Vicstar was. Yeah. And to be fair, when I was saying before, like there's not many brown gamers, like he is one of the Sikhs that is he's one of the Seeks at the highest level. Like, if anything, he's like one of the best, and with
He's on our
Warzone as
telly,
well.
yeah, as well. He's been on daytime television.
Exactly, he's bordering mainstream, and
Yeah.
when you sort of see him, and then I goes to my parents, I was like, well, I didn't even know this yet. So my cousin told me this, because apparently my cousin went to the same school, same uni as like Victor's brother or something.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he was asking us, or somebody he knew went to his uni, or something like that. And then he's like, so what does he do? I was like, and again I was like, he plays games and other people watch him.
Yeah.
And it's like, so how does he make money? And then like I had to go down and break the financials down of like, this is how, like, this is all the streams of revenue that you can make, and all, and X, Y, and Z. Like, you can have YouTube, Twitch, and sort of leverage your content to get across platforms and things like that. And he was like mind blown. He was like, oh, why doesn't everyone do this? Because obviously, because it doesn't, it's not like there is it's still like the 1%. So he is the 1% at the top of this field, and like there will be a lot of people trying to get up there. Like Ninja was a few years ago, and things like that. But it was just a really funny conversation to have, because he's the last person that I expect, and it was just completely out of the blue. But going back to the streaming thing, so like the way that I explained Twitch to him is that you have like, obviously, as he said, like, why do people want to watch another person play games? But it's the argument that I use is like, okay, why do you watch Premier League football? Do you know what I mean? There's people who can like play football at a much higher level than you, and you watch because it's more competitive, it's at the highest level, it's more entertaining. And then you can sort of break down streamers, and I see it as two categories of like, there's either the competitive players, and you watch them purely for like learning things, because most of them aren't really entertaining, I'll be honest. Then there'll be the entertaining, like the entertainers. And then you get the rare people that are in the middle, which are highly competitive and entertaining, and they're normally the ones that are like right at the top. So Ninja, for example, for Fortnite, he was really entertaining, but he was also winning all these tournaments, and then he gets propelled to like a next level. Then you've got Victor, who in these Warzone Wednesdays last year was winning, but obviously everyone knows him from the Sidemen and that sort of entertaining side of him as well. It's sort of the way that I explained to him, and it is it's really good that obviously he's representing as well. There's so the brown culture, and recently got to give a hats off to him, because I went in the comments and the abuse he was receiving. He did a tweet about the farmers protest. Yes, and I was like, yo, that like credit, because one, like, you don't really have to, as everybody else doesn't really have to, but two, when I went into them, like, his audience obviously is a lot young, and he's got a big
Different
mainstream
demographic.
but he's got a lot of mainstream Indian audience as well, like the non-Sikhs, I'll say. And a lot of them were going in on him, and he only replied to one of them, I think, and he just put that reply at the top, and he goes, look, I'm not saying it's a simple solution, it's a very complex matter, but there should be awareness of what's going on, which was a big up to you,
to him
man.
for that. That's what I mean. Like, if I ever, I hope to do one day, make it big, I'll always want to stay grounded and make sure I raise awareness for certain things as well. So it's really big of him to do that, because like you said, the gaming world, it's fun, but it's very, 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 very toxic. You get really toxic people. So the fact that he just didn't care and just tweeted about it anyway is really, really good.
I think he actually tweeted the link to the petition as well. That's what it was. And like, fair play, because eventually it did get signed. It did get spoken about in Parliament, and you never know like how much of a role he's had to play in that, because it required 100,000 signatures. His audience is millions. Do you know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. But
I thought that was cool. Sorry to interrupt you. I thought that was cool because, like we said, he's got a whole different demographic as well. So with me, obviously, what I've noticed, and I understand that a lot of people are raising awareness, which is great, but I feel like we're all raising it within our own little bubble. So we all know each other and we all know what's going on, but we're still, I get everyone is doing it for the right reasons. You know, you want to raise awareness, you want people to see. But what I like is, obviously, when I'm gaming, I don't have, my audience is so mixed. It's just also what I love. So I'll get people of all types of color all over the world. So it's not just, obviously, my main audience are Asian people, but I've got people from all over the world watching. So when I post things like that on my Instagram, I've had like 5-6 messages of people that had no idea what it is, and I've got to raise awareness for it, which I think is really, really cool. So that's why I love Vic Star for doing what he did, because I thought it was really important. So you know, I won't like shove it in people's faces, but if I find like interesting facts, or if I feel like something's moved on with a farmers protest or something major's happened, I'll always post it. And what's super cool is I'll have some like Gordon from America saying, I don't know what this is, and they'll ask me questions. And the fact that, you know, I've made a slight tiny difference, you know, so someone's aware of it, I think that's, you know, it's nice.
100%. Because Uppany know about Uppany. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Indians know about Indians. For people who are from Indian descent know about the farmers' protest, but it's reaching them wider audiences, which is like
Mm.
obviously why the Rihanna tweet was so important as well,
So
because
crazy, yeah.
it creates like awareness elsewhere. Like, and I don't know if anybody noticed or not, but for myself, the weekend that I posted the farmers protest podcast that I did, which was trying to raise awareness, the reason I put emphasis of making it all in English, translating anything that either of the guests said into English, having as many
Yeah.
Western parallels as possible, is because I had already recorded the podcast that I did with Adam Collard, which is one of
Oh,
my childhood friends. So,
oh.
so that's how that podcast came about. And I
Mhm.
knew that there's going to be an audience that listens to him from Love Island and
Mhm.
his fitness background. Um, but the literally the day before I posted the farmers protest one, because if anybody ends up listening to any other thing, they'll listen
It
to
would
that
make
one.
sense to them, yeah, and it would make sense. That's really good. No, that's really,
Exactly.
really good.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if obviously it had that impact or not. And the cool thing is, obviously, as he was my friend, he posted that podcast to his audience,
Yeah.
reshared it, and he had been resharing a lot of farmers protest stuff before that I was just pinging him that I found. So
Mhm.
again, big up to him as well, because obviously he's got like a complete different Love Island audience to.
Whole different demographic, yeah.
As we were talking about like Vicstar there, and as you sort of mentioned it beforehand, is that people obviously make money off streaming, and this is one of the things that I had to explain to my cousin, as we were speaking about before.
Mhm.
Sort of, if you could, the best of your ability, if you could sort of explain that side of things as well.
Okay, so you can stream normally off Twitch. So what you have to do is you have to reach affiliate status on Twitch, and the way you do that is by having a consistent three average viewers you have to have, and you have to reach 50 followers. So it's really not that hard, which I like about Twitch, to start earning money. And once you've reached that, it's the case of if people are into your stuff, they can just subscribe to you. So every month, like if you've got Amazon Prime, I think it's like half price, but
One
you
free
can,
sub.
or a free sub. There you go. And if not, it's £5.99, so it's about £6 a month. You can subscribe to someone, and that is how, you know, they make their money from Twitch as well. So if you like their content and if you're enjoying yourself, it is nice to support other people, because these things are not cheap as well. Like I was saying earlier, your monitors, your sound systems, your lighting, like that's why people think it's so easy just to press play, but it's behind the scenes. It's, you would know because you're doing a podcast, it's crazy. The setup and everything is crazy. So I did start off with like a really small setup, but as months have gone on, like every month I'll buy myself something nice, like just to go my streaming, like on my Instagram, as you've seen, I've majorly upgraded recently, which is quite cool, and I thought it was about time. So yeah, that's how you make your money. And you know, if people recognize you, if brands recognize you, it's just like it is on Instagram. If brands feel like, you know, you'd be a good asset to them, they'll approach you, and you can partner with them, you know, you can work with them. It's actually really cool, the opportunities that you can gain from it. It's crazy. And because of lockdown as well, a lot of gaming companies are trying their best to push out so much out there, because they're making so much money. Like, imagine
Mm-hmm.
how much money they're making right now. So it's quite cool that they're recently Elgato, so there are a couple of ladies of color actually, that I've seen have recently partnered with Elgato. So that's the software that I use as well to hook up my stream into my PlayStation.
So
And
just for anybody who doesn't know, Elgato is a thing that you connect into whatever device you're gaming on, and it'll basically mimic that onto a software, and that's what people will see on your screen. So when you see a person playing a game, you'll probably have the main screen is whatever their game is. So for example, we've been talking about Call of Duty, and then in one of the corners, you'll have like a face cam, which is where you can see the person speaking and talking and what they look like.
Mhm.
Sorry, just in case people didn't
Yeah,
know.
no, that's, you will explain it so much better than me. I'm glad you got to do that and I didn't have to do that. So yeah, so things like that. So they've started to take on women as well, which is super cool, because I think they want to be really inclusive. So that's the goal for me as well. Like, if I can partner up with these people, because I am really passionate about it. Like, yeah, I have a good time and it is fun. You get to meet people. I finally found something in. This was my problem. I never really had anything I was good at, if that makes sense. Or maybe I did and I just never knew. But I finally found something I'm good at, I enjoy, like I've set it all up. If I can make money from it, if I can make a career from it, excellent. Like, I would love to do it. So that is the goal. You want to do something you enjoy. So that is how we make our money. And that money does, for me personally, and a lot of people in their streams will put a sub goal. So if you're donating to them, or you're subscribing to them, they will tell you what that money is going towards. So a lot of the time it's going towards someone's setup, just so that they can stream more consistently. It'll be better quality. So these things always go back into streaming. So yeah, that is how you make your money, really. And
so how much does Amazon take from like a sub? So for anybody who doesn't know, Twitch is owned by Amazon. That's why one as part of your Amazon Prime subscription, you can give one free subscription to any Twitch streamer. But how much so out of that £6 does Amazon take?
I think it's half. I think they do take half off you.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. It's really bad that I don't know the answer to this question, because I just stream and hope for the best, to be fair.
No, but see, I think the thing is that most streamers, and I think this is and unless you are like a basically an already established social media influencer or something of the sort, and then create a Twitch stream as another source of income, which fair play to you, but most of the time they're not actually good at street like gaming or anything. It's just mainly like another cash grab. Most of the people who are actually like smaller streamers aren't really thinking of the financial aspect, I think, when they start. Like for yourself, like you started, and I think this is a good thing that you were in the position of having streamed for 3-4 years before this pandemic hit and streaming became a lot more popular. You were already established, whereas like I think most people came into it as part of Ninja's deal. Like Ninja got these £1 million deal or multi-million-pound deal,
crazy, isn't it?
which is crazy. But I think that's what like most people who are streaming don't do it for the finances initially. Like it's more just like the passion, and then obviously afterwards, if it happens, it happens.
If it happened, yeah, exactly. And that's how it kind of happened with me. I started because I was unwell. I didn't, even though I wasn't working, I didn't think, oh, this is now going to be the way I earn my money. It just kind of happened. And it's better to be a lot more authentic about it, because people know, like when you're watching people, when they're being authentic or when they're not. So it is nice, the fact, that people, like I keep saying, take their time out and think, I like their content, I'm going to support it. So that's how it's kind of happened. Yeah,
because there's one example that I'm thinking of at the moment, and I can't remember who it was, but it was like this fitness model or this model Instagram influencer person from America. I think, can't remember who it was, but on Twitch stream she was like, right, it's been like 2 minutes and I haven't had a new sub now. Like I'm not talking to you for free. Like you should be paying me for like my time on Twitch. And it's like that's like, and I remember a lot of a lot of Twitch streamers. Cat's having a bit of fun in the background.
Sorry, he likes to sit in his basket on my cupboard. Yeah.
A lot of like streamers and things obviously came in and was like, that's not what we do it for. We do it like obviously because we have a passion for gaming. And if that happens, it happens. But it's not like the money side of things. If it happens, it happens, but it's not the main priority. I want to say it was like Amanda Cerny or something like that.
I think I've heard. Did this happen recently?
Yeah, it was like during the pandemic.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Proper shady clip. You should go if anybody like wants to. They could find it on the internet very easily. But it was one of them very, very weird situations. But if I could like sort of explain like the financial side a bit more in depth, like you did a very good job, so well done. But if I could just supplement it, let's say. So obviously you've got like your Twitch stream, but this isn't for yourself exactly. This is for anybody who wants to follow like a gaming blueprint of like where finances could come from. And as I say, I had to explain this to my cousin, so it's really like easy for me to like regurgitate what I said to him. But like, for example, a Twitch streamer, and Twitch isn't the only gaming streaming platform. There's like YouTube and other things, but Twitch is obviously one where like I think it's just a bit more established, I guess, as a gaming platform. You've got your subscriptions, and that'll be from Twitch itself, and you can also have like followers and just general people who will watch, which they don't pay as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no, they don't.
towards like yourself. There's no like additional ad revenue if you have like X amount of people watching your stream, is there?
No, the only thing is, like I was saying, so you go on Twitch and you're just a regular Twitch streamer. When you've hit certain, when you've hit the
Affiliate mark.
criteria, you'll hit affiliate, yeah, and then the next step up from that is partner, but that is out of my reach at the moment. I'm gonna get there,
Yeah.
but you have to have things like an average of 75 viewers. So you've gone from an average of 3 to an average of 75. Obviously, it's a partner program, so it's understandably why.
What's the other differences? Like why is it so?
You earn more money, and obviously if you've got an average of 75 viewers, you're obviously very good at what you do, or you're very entertaining, so a lot of benefits come with that. So that's the difference between affiliate and partner. And yeah, once you've reached affiliate, you can get donation. If people are feeling like, you know, they want to donate to you, they can also do that.
Yeah, I've seen some mad donations on Twitch. Like it's crazy. Like, have you seen Mr. Beast on YouTube?
I don't think I have.
Mate, watch it. He's got like 60, 70 million subscribers. He's honestly a nutter. He just gives away money, and that's his like basically his content. It's crazy. But yeah, so you can get donations, you can get subscriptions, and then the way you can leverage your sort of content is that when you record a stream, there is a thing on Twitch which means you can't recycle your any content from your stream for like I think 24 hours or something, so it can't be duplicated. Because I remember there was people trying to do YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and it
You
just
can't.
it wasn't.
You can if you're not an affiliate. Once you become an affiliate to Twitch, you can't multi-stream. So if you're not an affiliate, you can stream on YouTube and Facebook, because there's Facebook gaming and Twitch at the same time. But when you're affiliated with Twitch, that's it. Then you're not stuck with Twitch, because Twitch is a really, really good channel to be able to earn money from. But that's when you're solely with Twitch.
Because you have to sign like a proper contract to do it.
Yeah, you have to sign it. So they ask obviously for all your details. Once you've hit that affiliate status, you go through forms online, and you have to agree to terms and conditions. It's a lot.
Yeah. But what you can do is say, for example, if you have a really good game on Warzone, you can clip that part of the stream and upload that onto, for example, YouTube. And if then you have a YouTube following, then you can get money from YouTube from, say, ad revenue and things like that. You mentioned before you have sponsorships. So there's a lot of gaming companies that offer sponsorships in terms of either for like a set fee financially, or if they give you equipment to upgrade your systems and your stream and things like that. And then when you start to get like I guess a mass following is when things like you can work on your own brand and you can get merchandise and things like that out. So I was explaining this in terms of how Vicstar makes his money, and that's like a lot of the revenues that he has to my cousin, as I was saying. But when you actually dive into how people leverage their content, and obviously, like as we were saying before we started the podcast, is like even TikToks and reels and things to bash them out. Like if you have a really good clip on Call of Duty, for example, and you kill like a full squad within 60 seconds, them clips go viral on TikTok, and then you can reach more audience, and they can follow you on Twitch.
Then they can follow you. It's crazy. It's like endless. It's literally endless. That's why people put in so much work as well. So, you know, you've got to get the clips, and the only way to get the clips is to be playing a lot of the time. But once you get there, it just takes one to go viral, and you can gain so many followers, and it's crazy. So obviously on my Instagram, I've got more content which is going to be on there now, because what happened was unfortunately I got ill again, and the pandemic really hit me, so I had to kind of, you know, I couldn't take it so seriously, but I've been working hard and I've got so much content about there. But I had a couple of videos up on Instagram. Oh my god, the reach that you get from it is crazy. So just that one, sometimes it just takes 1 or 2 videos, and before you know it, people are following you, people are liking your stuff, they're subscribing to you, and you've got a whole new audience. So
and then it's momentum. It's like the snowball effect. Like you just got to build that little snowball, and then it'll roll on and it'll roll on, and it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. Because I think that the important thing is, as I said before, is that you've been doing it for a while without any sort of like financial returns or anything, because there's the passion there, which is sustainable. Do you know what I mean? Like if you were doing it for like just monetary incentive and it doesn't come initially, then you probably give up. But because there is like that sort of passion for it, it's that sustainability, which means that you can do it for longer, and then you allow that snowball to gradually increase over time. So like maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 10, whoever knows, it could be like this massive entity, but it's built from something very small and just a natural passion.
Yeah, it's just usually a lot of the time you're just in your room with your headset on, very antisocial, and from that you can. It's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy. If you've got the passion, but I believe that for anything, if you've got the passion for something, you can take it as far as you want to take it. So yeah, at first, like I said, it was more like a hobby. I'd play, it was just a lot of fun. I'm a psycho. I love shooting people. I love just having a laugh. Like, it makes me laugh. I know it's crazy, but now that I've seen where I can take it, it's like, all right, now I'm a bit more serious and I can put my business head on it and my business perspective and say, you know what, people are really enjoying it. And I know that I'm different, which is really helpful, because when you are different in anything that you do,
A brand.
yeah, you've got a brand, and it's crazy. Like, that's why I encourage other females to come forward. Not saying that I want to be the leader of it, but I do want to be like the voice to say, you know what, if I can do, trust me, if I can do it, then anyone can do it. So I do want more females to come forward. I do want more Asian females to come forward and be like, well, that's cool. I want to have a go. Do you know what I mean? Just so it's more normalized within our community, because the comments are hilarious sometimes.
No, 100%. And I don't know if this is a sexist thing to say. It's positive to women, and in a weird way, I think. But I feel like personally, females do just get better numbers online in general. So if you do start, then you're basically starting with an advantage. And I know it doesn't sound like it, but because there aren't that many females in the game, but it is an advantage.
It's harsh to say, but I have to. And the things I say to my guy mates as well. Obviously, you know, the stereotypical, not even, it's true, there's a lot more guy gamers than there are girl gamers. So you can imagine the amount of guys that are doing the same thing and they're not getting very far. But if you're a woman and a woman of color and you sit there, it's sad. It is sad, and I do apologize to everyone that's really working there, but opportunities do just naturally come your way so quick because you look different, you are different. That's why I would love to see more brown girls get into it, because we can make something of ourselves. And I want to make a little community, and I want it to be fun, and I want us to, you know, just be different. And it's an advantage to be different is a big advantage. So
100%. And not to sound a bit creepy, yeah, but realistically, if you look at any social media sort of not to sound creepy, but I'm gonna say something very creepy. If you look at like any social media, like, and I think Twitch is part of that, like anything where like there's a online audience viewing it.
Yeah.
I think, say if a guy posts a picture topless and a girl posts a picture in a gym wear or something, yeah, not many guys are going to be like, oh, I appreciate your muscles, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, some guys will, but not many. Not many girls are going to go out of their way to appreciate that guy's post anyway, because there's that many more boys doing it.
Yeah.
When it's the other way around, when it's a girl posting a picture of like a booty gains or whatever, then it's all the girls will come and support that female, which that doesn't happen with the lad with other lads. And all the boys will come and show their love as well, because, well, you know why. I don't have to say it explicitly.
Don't have to spell it out, don't worry.
Exactly. So like online, girls just get bigger and better numbers. So it is one of them things where it's an advantage. I don't know if that's sexist to say, but it is one of them things. I think
it's the truth. Yeah, it isn't very nice. I don't like saying it, because I've got a lot of guy mates that are grinding, like they're trying so hard, and then they'll see me post something on Instagram and be like, are you for real? I was born this way. I can't help it, mate. The way it is. Do you know what I mean? But but the thing is, I haven't tried to. Advantage is probably the wrong word. I haven't tried to take advantage of it. I've just always known I'm different. So I thought it was cool if other people are different and they're worried about doing something. Then if they see me, like, you know, I just look like a normal brown girl, but they don't expect someone like me to be playing PlayStation. So if they see someone like me doing it, like we've spoken about a few times, maybe they'll be like, oh, you know what, I can do that as well. And
100%. That's exactly why the reason I reached out, and I think we're sort of coming full circle, is like the amount of people that I've like talked to of tag team wrestlers I've had on here. I've had like video directors, like of behind the scenes of some of like the biggest sort of advertising brands in the world. Boxers. I've had the Happy the Hathi book's author of, and she was a female as well, and like creating that, like all these sort of different aspects of artists, even like musical and actual like paintings and stuff. When you see somebody doing what you want to do at a young age, probably more so at a young age, who looks like you, it just becomes that more achievable, because you're like, well, they probably come from a similar background to me. So why can't I do it? Whereas if you see nobody in your, like, football is a thing that I use as an example a lot of times. We don't see that many Indian footballers, but
Yeah, that's true.
we have a couple now. One's playing for Swansea, smashing it. One's playing for Bayern Munich, and he's creeping in, and like, I think he's on the reserves, but he's played with the first team a couple of times, and he's
Okay.
got Sing on the back of a shirt, which is a
There you
massive thing.
go. That's
Do you know what I mean?
huge.
And if you're a kid and you see that, boom, I can be a footballer because he's like me, and that means I can do it. Whereas maybe
Yeah.
5 years ago that might not be the case.
No, it's not impossible. If you see other people do it, you know it's not impossible. You know it's within your reach, so why not? So yeah, I think
100%.
it's important. If you like doing something, then who cares what other people think? I always say that. In my whole life I've always said I do not care what people think about me. So I've always had thick skin anyway. I just like to laugh things off. But then when I started doing the streaming, other things came with it, like, oh my god, you're Indian and you stream, and girls would be like, I've always wanted to do that, where do I start, blah blah blah. I'm like, just do it. Like, you're gonna have so much fun, and like we said, you've got an advantage. You're a brown girl that is gaming. Like, do it. You can make something out of yourself. So
You know the amount of freshies in India who are gonna creep up on you. Like, come on, you got so much viewing just there. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
To be fair, I've been very lucky. People expect there to be a lot of creeps, and there really haven't been, which is really good. I know it's bad to expect a lot of creeps, but all the guys that like tune into my stream from all over the world and stuff, they don't see me as, oh my god, she's an Indian girl. Do you know what I mean? They just see me as a gamer. That's what I love about the gaming community. They do not see me for what I look like. They don't see me for what I sound like. I have a good time, and I'm decent, half decent, I would say, at the game. So yeah, we just have a really good time, and the gaming community is so accepting of everybody. I've never had a weird encounter since I've been streaming. I don't think I have. You
That's
do
very lucky.
actually. That's a lie. I just remembered a few times when I'm streaming, and people find me on Instagram and think this is like shadi.com or something, and I will get marriage proposals. Like, you can tell that guys are messing around, but sometimes it's like, are you single? Are you this? And I'm like, you have moderators, so you can have your mates there just to make sure the chat's going all right. And I'll just like, can you kick them out? Like, this is what I'm here for. Like, I'm only here to have a good time and play games. Like,
What's the best line you've had? What's the funniest line, sorry?
Oh, I don't know. Some probably like a Warzone pun or something. Like, I don't know. I've had the weird. It's very rare, but you have to laugh because you can't blame them. Like, they're shooting their shot, fair enough. But I'm just like, it's not like that around here. Sorry, mate. You come to the wrong stream. If that's what you're expecting. I'm always like, I'm here to play a game, and that's all I'm here for. So.
Definitely, that's tickled me, that one, because I can imagine it. It is very common, so I can definitely imagine it. And you said there you are decent at the game. Honestly, oh, 2 seconds. I genuinely am crying here because I'm laughing too much. And yeah, I've literally got tears. That's how much I'm laughing. You said you were good at the game, and genuinely you are. Like, as I said, like, I dropped in your stream a few times, and I don't know if you were just having a lucky week last week, but you were getting wins on wins on wins.
I got so many wins last week. I don't know what happened. Honestly, I think I've just leveled up out of nowhere. Honestly, I constant all week. But the thing is, the moment I went on stream that week, it just went down the pan. Like, I was playing so well. I've got loads of clips to prove, if no one believes me, that I was doing decent. But sometimes when you're on stream, like, I play a lot better off stream than I do on. I think it's because you've got no pressure in it. You're just there chilling.
Yeah. And you're interacting and things like that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot harder on stream. But yeah, last week, don't know what happened to me. I
You
was
play,
just killing it.
so you play on console as well, right?
Yeah, I do. I play on PlayStation 5. But eventually, everyone's saying PC is the way forward. So
Have you played on PC before?
I haven't.
It takes some getting used to. Like, one of my mates is like starting to stream soon, and he's basically like taking a bit of time to learn PC first because he's wicked at games on PlayStation, but keyboard and mouse is just completely different.
It is, I can imagine.
Yeah, it does not look fun when he was trying to explain it. Like, I know how good he is at games, so when he was going into lobbies and like getting his ass whooped, I was like, that's, yeah, you can sort of tell, like, he's way better than me at games and stuff. So yeah, it's just one of them sticky situations. Another thing that sort of happened recently, which is a topic that we already spoke about before the podcast, and I know that you haven't seen this, but the Mortal Kombat trailer came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you obviously watched it, right?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So yeah, as we said beforehand, you're not a massive movie fan, but
No, unfortunately, sorry.
this Mortal Kombat movie trailer came out for obviously in Mortal Kombat, and that sparked my interest of basically, and it's not the first Mortal Kombat movie actually, so this is a bit of trivia if anybody doesn't know. There were two movies released in 95 and 96, and I remember this because I had them on VCR when, like, I was born in 96, but we had them on VCR because my brother had them and watched them as well. And obviously, like, CGI and things aren't as good as now, but it is what it is. They were still decent. But no, the trailer came out for this one, and it's massive. Got me thinking of, if you have watched any movies, I know you don't watch a lot, but if you have watched any movies that are based on games, what would be your favorite? And I've got a few examples here for you. So we've got,
I need help here.
I'll start with the like more rogue ones, and I'll get like the more popular ones towards the end. So Hitman 47 is this guy with the red tie. That was a game first and then turned into a movie. Street Fighter was one back in the day. Resident Evil movies was a good franchise. Prince of Persia, which I actually watched the other night just randomly. Max Payne, Final Fantasy, Doom. Some of the more popular ones are probably Sonic. You know, that new one with Jim Carrey. Yeah. So maybe that's the answer. We've got Tron. You know, the ones on the motorbikes with the lines and all that.
Yeah.
I think Assassin's Creed came out a couple of years ago as well, which was very good. But for me, that needs a sequel. That because it was a very good movie. I don't think they've made one, but I think they should. And probably the biggest one is Tomb Raider.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, Tomb Raider.
I've seen that. I was like, I hope to God he mentions Tomb Raider.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I'll leave it to the end because it is the biggest one, isn't it? Like Lara Croft and Tomb Raider and Angelina Jolie back in the day. So have you enjoyed any of them? Which one's your favorite? I imagine it's Tomb Raider from the back of that.
Yeah, like we said before we started this, I'm really bad at films because I am like a cat. I will get cozy. So you'll see me on my stream. I'll have a gumball sometimes, a pillow. I'll get as comfortable as I possibly can, and I will fall asleep. I am a big time sleeper as well, so I'll knock out within 10 minutes of a film being on. So me and films aren't friends, but Tomb Raider I absolutely loved. So when the game came out, and have you seen the comparisons of the graphics of what Tomb Raider used to be compared to what Tomb Raider is now?
The triangle chest, I'll say.
I remember playing that, and it's mad how like graphics and time goes on, and you like imagine playing that now, you'd be like, what is this? But at the time you were like, wow, that's so cool, it looks so real. So yeah, Tomb Raider probably on that list, I would say.
Going back to what you were saying before, like with GTA, like I remember playing GTA London, and it was like a overhead view, so it was like you were looking straight down, like you know, like Pokemon, how you like on the Game Boy back in the day, how it would be like an overhead view. It was like that, like both. I had Game Boy Color, and Pokemon was like that, but even GTA was like that. It wasn't like it wasn't 3D. It was like from a sky view.
I can't believe how far they've come. Like, it's so realistic. It's mad. It's absolutely crazy.
It is crazy. I'd say out of them, my favorite's probably Assassin's Creed, just because I played the game a lot more as well. But I think Tomb Raider is the biggest one. And I think they did a remake, didn't they, of the movie like a couple of years ago? Not with Angelina Jolie. But
with Angie. So I didn't watch it because she went in it. So I was like, no. Yeah. Because I've grown up on all the Tomb Raider movies. And, you know, when you watch someone else play the role, it's just not the same, is it? So I didn't watch that one.
It's really not. And if you could make any gaming series into a movie, and I'll preface this by saying it has to be story based, so it can't be Call of Duty. If you made, because I can't, Call of Duty is basically just every action movie in my opinion. But like if you like chose a game that was like story based, like a story based series, which one would you turn into a game? And I know my answer, and that's why I'm asking the question, but I'll let you go first.
So like you say, if I watched a film or something, what I would turn into a game, or just a series in general?
Other way around. So what game have you played?
Okay.
Like a story-based game. So like Assassin's Creed was a game, and then they made it into a movie. So what other one?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really tough one. Like I said, I've always like played the same game. I'm boring like that. So I'm trying to think. Just give me a moment. What other games have I played? A lot of the games I've played have you know, got a story behind it. You know, like Battlefield, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a history behind it. And recently I've been into my history. I never used to be at school, but I don't know.
I feel like Battlefield's like a cop out though, because
It's like Call of
it's a
Duty.
yeah, exactly. It's like Call of Duty. It's basically just a shooting movie in it, and there's so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
then. I mean, like a bit more like where there's perhaps not even a multiplayer option. It is purely just story based.
Purely story based.
Yeah,
What games have I played that are really? That's a really tough one. You tell me what would you choose?
mine's quite easy because I'm a sucker for like Greek mythology and things like that.
Okay. Oh,
God of War.
you can say God of War. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'll be. See, I want to play that. I've seen people
Oh,
like I want to play it. Yeah, yeah.
play that on stream because one, it's such a sick game. I'm saying the original trilogy though because they changed the new one is like Nordic mythology,
Okay, yeah.
which is more like Thor type things, whereas the original trilogy was like or Greek mythology, which is like Zeus and all of that. I don't know if I'm probably just speaking
No,
to deaf ears here. Like
no. It's interesting. As I'm getting older, I'm more into my history. It's crazy. I used to fall asleep. No surprise there. I used to fall asleep in history at school, but now I'm just like, wow. Like Assassin's Creed. Now we were watching Vikings on Amazon Prime, and
yeah.
oh my god, it's so good. I would never ever watch anything on Vikings, but when I tell you, I was into that. So the fact that and now it's crazy because I saw Assassin's Creed come out, but I didn't link the two. And then recently I finished watching Vikings, and I'm like, when I clocked that there's a game, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So yeah.
That's what that Valhalla is that all
yeah,
that's Nordic
Valhalla.
mythology, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really good as well is that Assassin's Creed's always been really good because they actually like get historians involved to make the game. So they so I remember seeing this article once that like I think it's Odyssey's the one that's like made in ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
And they actually like you could actually have a tour of the pyramids and it would be that accurate in game.
That is really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's meant to be really like scientifically and historically correct and all that stuff. But no, for me, like just imagine this, yeah, The Rock playing Kratos. Yeah, and like because he's got that build and it would just look so dope. And then you have the original trilogy of him finding out that he's like this child of the gods and he goes and battles like Zeus and Ares and all that. Oh mate, I'm getting a bit too nerdy here, but it's what I like.
I'm finding all this shit more interesting now than I ever did, so I'm really into it now. But that'll be really, really cool. Hopefully they can hear you and they'll be like, you know what, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Anybody listens to the podcast, we can just make that movie in it. I'll expect my royalties afterwards.
Yeah, it might already be in the working for all you know.
Yeah, it could be.
Imagine how excited you'd get. You'd be like, oh my god.
I'd be buzzing. I'd get this clip of me saying it and repost it every single day, like from the announcement to the day that the movie comes out, and then I'll just go there and watch it like every single day. Honestly,
cool.
It would be so sick. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been really dope. Obviously, we touched on quite a lot. It's went on a bit longer than I think we expected.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at the time.
Yeah, exactly. But just before we finish, I ask the same 5 questions to every single guest. It's sort of in a quick fire fashion. So we'll get started with these. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of, even though I've been really unwell, just staying positive. I'm just a positive person. Anything can hit me and I'll always put a positive spin on it. So I'm proud of myself for that.
100%. What are you most looking forward to?
Seeing where the journey takes me. I really am. I know it sounds cheesy, but I've got so much stuff that's coming my way these days, and I'm like, that's so cool. I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, and I'm just like, oh my god, this stuff is so cool. So definitely seeing how far I can take it, because I'm having the time of my life right now, I have to say.
Sick. If you just stopped at the beginning part, I would have said that was corny as well, but no, you expanded, so that's good. What is your biggest motivation?
My biggest motivation, probably the fact that, like we keep saying, I'm different from what you expect. So that's my biggest motivation. Like if I'm in a field where I don't look the same as everybody else, you know, I'm from a different background, like why not just push the boat out and try and get as many people on the boat as I can, and then push the boat out so we can all win together. So my motivation is just, you know, no one looks like me that's out there doing it, so why not in it?
Why not in it?
Sorry, that's so professional. Why not in it? Yeah, go on.
It's good. I just thought it was funny. What is your definition of success?
okay, this is, why do all my answers have to sound cheesy in my head? Success to me is just living within my means and being happy. That's literally, it might sound super duper cheesy, but in life, all I want to be is happy. Happiness comes first and then success will follow. But as long as I'm happy, I'm healthy, that's it. That's all that matters to me.
And last but not least, because it's the KultureKast podcast, how has your culture affected you this far?
So, like I said, the support from the Asian community has been unbelievable. They've lifted me up and they've got me to where I am. And obviously, because I am a Sikh girl myself, that has just pushed me to it's pushed me into so many opportunities I can't even tell you. So it's helped me it's just crazy. And yeah, that's it really. I don't know. I had so much more to say on that point, but I just completely lost my train of thought.
Take a second if you need to. You can keep on going. It's up to you.
I don't know. It's just everyone's been so supportive, and like, because in our culture anyway, we are very uplifting and we're a very tight-knit community. We all know what each other's going through, so we can all relate to each other. So there's always someone to lean on, there's always someone to talk to. And like I said earlier, our generation, we just want to see each other win. So to have these people around me, I'll push them up, they'll push me up, and I know that if one of us is going to make it, we're all going to make it. So
that's it. And I think that's the conversation we had before, is that generational shift of like, it's not tearing each other down anymore, it's more building each other up. And when, as you said, when one of us makes it, then it becomes that much more achievable to everybody else. So it's, you always want to see people succeed instead of tearing them down. Obviously there's going to be outliers and there's going to be people who don't want you to win, but fuck them.
There's always going to be competition, obviously, and there's always going to be people that are a bit, odd. But so far, all I can say is it's been great, and I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for all these people that are watching my stream. So, yeah, it's great.
Smashed it. What I think I've found really refreshing during this is that you have sort of realized at a very sort of, I guess, young age that like you're happy with yourself. Do you know what I mean? You don't find that nowadays too much. Like everybody, especially like with social media, it has its benefits and its drawbacks. And I think one of the things that is a drawback is that people want to attain this image that is not even attainable, because the people who you think are getting it aren't even having it. So
they aren't. Yeah, it's always really important just to stay true to yourself. Like, it's not about it's not about anybody else. I don't know what it is. It's just the way I've grown up and where I've grown up. I haven't really cared about what people think about me. They can think whatever they want to think. I'm here for a good time. I've always got a smile on my face, and that's all that matters. Like, you just want to be, like I said before, happy and healthy, and to me, that's just success. Like, I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm just in my little bubble, always partying, always dancing. I'm just here doing my own little thing, trolling along. So I'm happy.
No, 100%. It's the best way to be. Like, I think when you realize like to sort of accept yourself, play to your own strengths, maybe work on your weaknesses, all of that banter, it just becomes a lot more easier. You're not really trying to please anybody else. You just do what you got to do, and yeah, it's a lot less stressful and it's a lot more fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have half of that mental stress disappears. But I will leave your links in the bio below, and your Twitch stream, your Instagram that we've mentioned so much throughout this podcast, so people can go check that out. And a few other links will also be in there, potentially, because things might be made.
Will. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say or plug before we finish?
Not really. I think you've done it all for me, to be honest. Just, if you want to check me out, come and check me out. We're always having a laugh. Never any negativity around here. So if you're feeling down, whatever, just come by and say hello. I'm always there for you. I'm always there out there, So yeah, it'll be cool. Thank you.
Perfect. No worries. No, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure.